Greetings, denizens of the internet. You can call me Nitro Indigo, and 6 days before I'm recording this, I watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie with a friend. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi there, my name is Jack.
I think we should talk about our overall impressions first.
I personally think it was a very, very well executed film. I noticed that a lot of the plot points seem to pull from other similar films in recent times, namely the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. But I also found...
I haven't seen that.
Okay, so you wouldn't see that. But I found that a lot of the plot points were executed somewhat better, maybe because of the fact that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was trying to, I guess, show us that video game movies could do well, as opposed to how they used to do, and as such was struggling to find its footing in certain areas. But with the Mario movie, at least, I think a lot of the plot was done very well. The plot was executed, the characters had clear motivations, and I think that they did very well in bringing the goofy world of the Mushroom Kingdom to life in a way that doesn't contrast Brooklyn shown earlier, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, so basically what you're getting at is that you think the Sonic movie was trying just too hard to be, taken seriously, whereas the Mario movie is what it is. Sounds like a metaphor for the entire franchises.
Don't get me wrong, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was brilliant, but I think there were areas where it could have done better, and I think that was on account of it trying to appeal to a younger audience, to try and prove that it could do well as a children's film. Things like having Sonic floss, which wasn't in the original trailer.
Or the original script? I don't know.
Well, the trailer originally showed him doing a more original dance.
Oh, so it was a trailer scene that they edited.
Yeah.
And as for me, I thought the Super Mario Bros. Movie was alright. It didn't do anything particularly mind-blowing, but it had a coherent plot and it didn't make me cringe. And I liked how it kind of, wasn't the bare minimum of what you'd expect from a Mario movie. They could have just had the generic plot where Bowser kidnaps the princess and Mario and Luigi have to save her, but no, Peach doesn't actually get kidnapped until the end. Spoilers, because this will be a spoiler-full review. And even then, it's more like she surrenders and she has an exit plan and she gets to be awesome and wear an ice dress that looks like Elsa's.
And then she girl bosses all over Bowser.
Yeah. And also, Donkey Kong is a big player in that. Usually it only really crosses over with the main Mario series in party games.
You said this was a spoiler video, as you just said, so I'm going to use this statement. I quite liked the introduction of Fire Kong.
Oh, yeah. I think that was in one of the trailers, but I'm not sure.
I didn't watch the trailers. I deliberately stayed away from them to avoid spoilers.
Although, honestly, speaking of the power-ups, it feels like if you didn't know much about Mario, they'd come out of nowhere, because, the mini mushroom is sort of foreshadowed at the start when Toad tells Mario not to touch the small blue mushroom. But then, if I didn't know any better, I'd think the Cat Mario and Tanuki Mario just came out of nowhere and be like Deus Ex Machinas.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, there was absolutely no warning that those power-ups were going to appear. I had a sneaking feeling that the Cat Mario power-up would absolutely appear, as Nintendo has very much enjoyed using that in the past half a decade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very upset that classics like Fire Mario didn't appear.
Oh, that didn't even cross my mind.
We got Fire on Donkey Kong, for goodness sake, but not Mario?
And Fire Peach.
Yeah, but that one I'm pretty sure was expected from people at this point.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that was a bit disappointing was that Luigi didn't really do much.
I agree with you on that, but I do think it made his final scene against Bowser with the star power-up more interesting. It was sort of like a climactic moment.
That also kind of caught me by surprise, because I was honestly expecting the superstar to be more like a power star or something, not like the invincibility star, because there are a lot of stars in the Mario cinematic universe.
True, but when Bowser said about powering up and being invincible, that's when I clocked it was the superstar, not a power star.
Oh.
So I expected there would be a scene, but I expected it to be like a scene where, being that it's obviously its own continuity, I expected it to be a scene in which Bowser would do an effect similar to what he does with the power stars, where he becomes massive and all-powerful. But then Mario and Luigi would draw from it to become invincible, kind of like the, you wouldn't know, you haven't watched Sonic 2. But there's a scene in which, spoiler alert for Sonic 2, so skip ahead 15 seconds or so if you don't want to hear it. The Chaos Emeralds are used by Eggman. Well, the Master Emerald is used by Eggman. In that continuity, the Chaos Emeralds are like shattered fragments of it, and Sonic ends up drawing from them to destroy the big robot.
I think maybe we could go through the movie's plot, because first of all, the beginning is really similar to Cars 2 of all things, but better. Because, it begins with a really dark, a scene at night with a load of destruction and fire and possible death. We don't see any of the penguins die on screen, but Bowser did melt most of the castle. And then, like, the villain says, "Who will stop us now?" And it smash cuts to our plucky underdog protagonist.
To be fair, I agree with you on that, but I didn't make the connection to Cars 2. But now that you've said that, I can't unsee that.
A few years ago, I spent more time than was probably healthy thinking about Cars 2. So that's why I know it so well.
I don't blame you on that, they were good films.
Yeah, Cars 2 is a very weird movie. It's got some really so bad it's good moments, but most of it is just tedious.
True. But then, on the note of the Mario movie's plot, I think the way they moved the brothers into the Mushroom Kingdom world, if you like, into Mario World, we'll say, was quite interesting. And the way they had each...
I think it's canonically called the Mushroom World, but I'm not actually sure where that name comes from. I just think that's just what everyone calls it.
Well, when they were brought into that world, I think they did it well. But then at the same time, I love that they had each of the in-game worlds being its own separate kingdom, with Bowser's World 8 being a giant flying fortress. Which I think is brilliant, because I've always... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, see, I thought that, like, the Flying Fortress and the Darklands were separate places. Wait, which they are,
were, yeah.
But I thought Darklands was supposed to be, like, the typical World 8 place.
Well, if you notice the design of the area that Luigi ends up in, it appears to be, it appears to be that Bowser, or at least the way I interpret it, was that Bowser tortures the lands that he takes over, and that becomes the Darklands.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you look at I've always had the big question in the games of how does Bowser carry so much lava consistently through different castles in the games? Like, you look at, obviously game design-wise, yeah, it's just a level gimmick. But, speaking logistically, if he pipes lava through the ice world, that lava would cool.
Wait, no, that's not how... Is it? Is that not how... But that's like the opposite of how physics works. You can't create cold, you can only move heat.
Yes, but heat moves from the hotter places to the colder places, so you'd melt a large area of the ice, but in return, the lava would cool.
Okay. I also kind of liked when you see the map in the Jungle Kingdom, in the back, it looks like the Super Mario World map.
I did notice that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I quite liked the, just the overall layout of the map, if you get me. Like, when they were going, in the scene where they're running through the Mushroom Kingdom when Toad, who I didn't clock until the end of the film was Captain Toad, is just running through the Mushroom Kingdom to get to the princess. And you see, I just love the way that Illumination handled the design of the set there, where it's, all the parts and the levels are being used in, the everyday function of the area.
Oh yeah, the coin box being basically like ATMs was a funny gag.
I liked that.
Doesn't really make sense, but this is a cartoon, so... But,
also the moving platforms being used as, elevator lifts, and, the way they've integrated everything that would be considered, a level, a terrain... Yeah. What's the word? Like a danger in the levels.
A hazard.
Is now... Yeah, a hazard, that's the word, thank you. Is now, being used almost in a civil way. And I just love how integrated that design is, and I hope we get something like it in the games.
Oh yeah, because now you mention it, it's really hard to put, floating platforms in anything other than a 2D side-scroller, because it just looks very disembodied. And that's honestly kind of why I like Klonoa so much, because the levels just look more organic than, like in a Mario game. They feel like real places that happen to be side-scrolling, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Klonoa?
I haven't played it, but I've seen little bits of play. I think a similar thing to compare it to would be Shantae. Have you ever played the Shantae games, the early ones?
No, but I know they're about. Those are Metroidvanias, right?
Well, the early ones are more so, almost like Zelda 2 in a sense. But then, later on they became Metroidvanias. A sort of side-scrolling...
RPG?
Platformer. Yeah, kind of, yeah.
It's kind of jarring that, all the Toads are just the same model in 5 different colours, which I assume was due to Nintendo's corporate mandates breathing down Illumination's necks. But then when you see the other areas... all the background characters look different. I'm not going to say they're all unique because A, I don't pay that much attention to things. I'm not, and B, this isn't Pixar. They did this video, behind the scenes video, about how they basically made all the background characters in Monsters University by procedurally generating them based on a list of parts. So that movie probably has unique background characters, but I don't think this one does. I think a lot of the Kongs were just different. There's only 4 different background Kong models, but that's still more than the Toads.
Yeah, I can't wait for a year from now when it comes out the Kongs were made using a modified version of the Mii creator.
Oh, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. But also, speaking of the Toads, I do agree with you, it was slightly underwhelming that they were all the same model. I mean, come on, this is Illumination. They took a yellow bean in dungarees and made so many different variants of it.
Speaking of the Mushroom Kingdom scene, I think the funniest part of the whole movie was when Mario, runs towards Peach, and it looks like she's about to grab his hand, but instead she grabs his finger and then just decks him.
Yeah, you can see that she's, it does, the whole, running down the beach, starstruck lovers thing, running towards each other, and then she just suplexes him.
And I also like how Peach got to be a badass again, even if she's the only female character in this movie who does anything of note. I mean, speaking of which, Pauline had a cameo. She was a news reporter.
God, yeah, I forgot about that.
And also, I clocked whose Charles Martinet's character was straight away. His name's apparently Giuseppe, which I probably pronounced wrong, but he's the guy who talks to Mario after they show their advert for their plumbing business.
I would like to make a point that his design, I might be misremembering this, but I remember somewhere a few years ago I saw a YouTube short, which is a joke about a third Mario brother being just a regular guy named Giuseppe.
Oh.
And the design, if I remember correctly, almost entirely matches. So I feel like there could be some kind of back reference to the community there.
I don't think companies are allowed to reference fan projects in that much detail for due to legal reasons, but I don't know, so someone should look into that.
Well, this was literally a 10-15 second video from we're talking 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And also jumping around a bit, I like how when they're running to their first job, it looks like a platformer scene. And then Luigi sucks at it, so Mario just gets him to skip. Oh, is that supposed to be a reference to the Super Guide in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where you get to see Luigi play the level for you? Or is it just a coincidence?
Oh my god, yeah. It could be also with the way that Mario was opening things. I think Super Mario Bros. U had a thing on the Wii U gamepad where you could place things, open things.
Oh yeah, I haven't played that game, and I only played New Super Mario Bros. Wii once.
I haven't played it either, but I remember seeing it was something that people were talking about on YouTube.
The only New Super Mario Bros. Game I've owned was the first one.
I owned the DS one, the Wii one, and I think it was New Super Mario Bros. 2 on the 3DS.
Yeah?
I actually legitimately got to 1,000,000 coins in that, and I regret everything.
Oh yeah, I didn't play it because official Nintendo Magazine's review of it was basically all negative, but they had to give it 90% for contractual reasons, I guess.
It was a decent game. It was just more of Super Mario. It was just more of New Super Mario Bros., which is an issue with the series now, isn't it? But
Remember when the Koopalings weren't in every game?
I remember playing New Super Mario Bros. Was it the Wii one? I just had no idea who they were.
Well, I knew who they were because I played Super Mario All-Stars.
I'd played Super Mario World at this point, but I hadn't made it past the first world.
Okay. I sucked at All-Stars when I was a kid, don't worry.
All-Stars, that's the one with 1, 2, and 3, isn't it?
Yeah, both the 2s.
Oh yeah, it has lost levels too, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I do back to the film, sorry. I do like the way they use certain parts of Bowser's army. With they made the connection between, during that Mario Kart scene, there was the guy who called himself Blue Shell and then called up and went and bombed Donkey Kong.
Oh, I read on TV Tropes that the Blue Shell Koopa doesn't appear after that, so...
He doesn't.
That's horrifying.
But, there's also things like the way they handled Dry Bones in Luigi's first steps into the Darklands. They used it as an actual horror character.
And they chase after him, and I kind of thought it was a nice touch that he knocks them into lava, because that's the only way to get rid of them in the games. Or at least they fall into lava. I don't know if Luigi intentionally causes them to fall, but it happened.
I also like that, I forgot what they're called, the weird guy, not the Shy Guys, but the Shy Guys, those are the guys like the weird cannon masks.
The Whiffits. Sniffits.
Whiffits, thank you.
Sniffits.
Sorry, yeah, Sniffits. I like how they use them.
I legitimately don't think I'd heard of them until I played Paper Mario the Origami King.
I think they come from the American Super Mario Bros. 2, don't they?
Yeah, they do, but I didn't play. I didn't know they had a name until relatively recently. Also, apparently, there's a bit of music from the Origami King in there, but in the movie, but I didn't notice it. So, but I did notice the Super Mario Galaxy music, and also in Mario's in the field outside the Mushroom Kingdom town, and that weird buzzsaw man pants thing walks over him. I swear the music that plays sounds vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place what it was, and now I can't remember it. So.
I think it was something from 3D World. On the note of the music, the entire film's music was brilliant. I love the various, the way there's even the various orchestral mixes from different games. I also like the way that they mixed in, obviously you've got things like when they're looking out over, the vast chasms, you've got, the Super Mario Galaxy theme kicks in, and I very much liked, at the end when Bowser's, shooting fire down Brooklyn streets, and then the fire clears to reveal, Superstar Mario and Luigi, and then the star theme just, sort of gently rises up behind them.
Oh, yeah, the bit where Bowser's castle bursts into Brooklyn kind of was really cool. I'd honestly just expected Mario and Luigi to just go back home and nobody believed them, and then they just go back to the Mushroom Kingdom or something. So that was a very nice climax.
When they sent the the Bonsai Bill through, I genuinely expected like they'd return home to a crater.
Oof.
Because remember, but I genuinely expect that'd be their reason then to try and save the Mushroom Kingdom. Because remember how Bonsai Bill was supposedly so powerful it could destroy the entire Mushroom Kingdom?
Yeah.
Which is why Mario took it into the pipe. But then it ended up creating I guess, a black hole effect, which somehow pulled Bowser's castle through that small pipe.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was because it might have when it destroyed the pipe, and that was what caused it to suck.
Oh, maybe it did destroy the pipe. I just read it as everything was sort of just yoinked through the pipe.
Yes. Why did they say something like that? It was like I was trying to be memey, but instead I just ended up sounding like a parrot. There's a parrot.
Don't worry. I'm sure someone in your follower base will clip it.
Yeah, there's a parrot. If you're wondering, I watched this channel called Apollo and Friends, which is about an African grey parrot who likes to emphasise consonant sounds like k and sh. Like his favourite word is shrock, which is like a portmanteau of Shrek and rock. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just picturing a Japanese Mega Man game called Shrek Man.
Oh no. Or a Mega Man boss. That would be horrifying.
Well, because in Japanese he's Rockman, isn't he?
I know. Someone's probably made that crossover.
Also, there's got to be somewhere.
Speaking of Shrek, one day I should get around to watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I've heard it's good, but I'm not that interested in the Shrek cinematic universe. And I also don't have the attention span for movies, except when I do, I guess.
We're talking about the Mario movie, and you're here saying you don't have the attention span for movies.
Yes. Oops, but speaking of attention span, the movie was an hour and a half long, which didn't really surprise me. But what did surprise me is that the cinema we booked it in had a 2-hour time slot, and I swear that a quarter of it was adverts, including this advert for number 7, which just never ended.
To be fair, it's probably something to do with the
money.
With the that's what I mean. It's probably because I remember that the Mario movie was originally in what I think it was one of the interviews, if I recall correctly. The guy said it was going to be about 2 hours long, so I wonder if maybe they have to give details to the cinemas before release.
Oh, so maybe they had to pad out the runtime.
That's what I mean. I think maybe in the past they'd gone to the cinemas when they were giving information and said, yeah, it's going to be about 2 hours long, but then of course it ended up being an hour and a half. On the note of because I was talking about cut content, wasn't I? And how the film might have been longer. I genuinely think that we're going to see that there was some cut content involving Yoshi. Because, of course, we got, spoiler alert, the post-credit scene with the egg cracking in Brooklyn.
And we were
but
the only...
also... Oh, sorry.
And I knew there was a post-credit scene, but I didn't know what it was. Due to some news headlines I misinterpreted, I thought they were going to play the full version of the Donkey Kong rap, so I was a bit surprised. But also because, we were the only people left in the cinema by the time the scrolling parts of the credits started, and the lights had come on, so I just assumed that the post-credit scene was actually just the mid-credit scene with Bowser, spoilers.
But yeah, the Yoshi egg cracking is obviously referencing there's going to likely be a second film that's going to feature Yoshi's in Brooklyn and probably something to do... I expect there'll be something similar to Yoshi's Island. Because we haven't seen much of the world yet, have we? We've only seen a montage of them travelling through harsh environments, seeing a beautiful landscape above the clouds, and then Donkey Kong Country.
Honestly, the travel montage kind of reminded me of My Little Pony: A New Generation, of all things. Cause,
can't say I've seen it.
Obviously, but there's a scene where there's basically a musical number which has 2 of the main characters travelling through a montage of places, and then there's a scene later in the film where all 5 of the main characters gather around a campfire, and it's really nice, and that's what the scene where they're in the field of fireflowers reminded me of.
But yeah, as I was saying, we see the Yoshi egg, and obviously earlier on during that montage, we see a scene where Mario's picked up an apple, and I genuinely thought Yoshi was going to join their crew, because in the background you got a pink Yoshi who's just fixated on him. So I genuinely thought it was going to end up following them. So I wonder if there was originally still a plan for Yoshi to make an appearance in the film itself.
I personally think that they might have just saved Yoshi for the sequel, so it would be more special, kind of like how Tails apparently appears in the post-credit scene of the Sonic movie.
True. Super Mario Galaxy 2 effect. But I genuinely think, though, because also having Yoshi on the party would have filled out the a common trend, and of course it was filled in with Donkey Kong later, a common trend in these sorts of films is a party of 4. Like in Sonic 1, you've got Sonic, you've got Tom the policeman, you've got his girlfriend, who I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but then you've also got, for a while, her sister, who sort of antagonises Sonic.
I can't say I'd noticed this, because I don't really watch many movies. I think this was the first time I'd been to the cinema since I watched Toy Story 4, which came out in 2019. It kind of does fall into that cliche CGI movie plot where it's like a bunch of characters going on an adventure with wacky set pieces and licensed music and all that, but it was fun, at least. One of the songs they used was Thunderstruck by AC/DC, and I honestly associate that song with Planes, Fire and Rescue, which I've only seen clips of, but there's a scene where they do a bunch of action stuff while Black plays, but they had to cut out a lot of it because apparently the full song is really inappropriate for a kids' movie, so...
Hey, they could have pulled the Sega treatment, taking a song that's all about, let's say, abusing adult relationships to cope with trauma, and then using it as the lead song for Sonic Frontiers, but just editing one line of the lyrics.
Oh, yeah, there was some controversy about it having swear words in it, and also didn't they use Gangsta's Paradise in the original Sonic movie trailer with the creepy Sonic?
Yeah, they did, actually. I forgot about that, because the song makes no appearance in the entire film.
Yeah. And there was also Holding Out for a Hero, which I'm sure many people associate with Shrek 2.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. What other licensed songs were there? But also, speaking of like CGI film cliches, I kind of like it, like how at the start when someone was antagonising Luigi, Mario actually like stood up for him and stood up for himself as well. Like that's a nice change of pace from the usual underdog protagonist who just is a doormat.
I feel like Luigi fills that trope, and like obviously he gets his redemption at the end. But like, I do feel like at the beginning of the film, as much as Mario cares for his brother, they did make him quite almost, I don't want to say abusive, but he did look down on Luigi quite a bit.
It was a bit annoyed by him, just like my older brother is annoyed by me.
I feel, I can't really comment on that. I feel my older sister probably is also quite annoyed at me.
If anyone needs context, I'm the youngest of two, and Jack is the middle child.
Yes, I am. And I do feel like, obviously, as I said, Luigi gets his redemption at the end in the final scene. You know, when they're, like, fighting Bowser.
Yeah.
The whole Mario, like, Luigi jumps in to, like, spoiler, Luigi jumps in to save Mario using a drain cover to protect him from fire. Mm-hmm. But, like, Mario sort of, like, could have run and gotten the star and then beaten Bowser down. But instead, they took the time to actually have him reach out to Luigi, take his hand, and then grab it together. Which, a small thing.
It's
but
supposed
it
to be
very
like
is... Oh, sorry.
Mario had an arc about learning to respect Luigi more, I guess. I can't really remember if it was an arc, I guess. Or maybe it's supposed to make him realise how much he cares for Luigi.
Well, throughout the film, he does think about how Luigi's doing without him. And remember, it does cause him to look back into their past, if you remember. Yeah. Where we see baby Luigi getting bullied, and then baby Mario steps in.
Oh, that was cute. And I liked how they used the baby designs. They looked a bit out of place, but it was cute. Like, the baby designs from, like, Yoshi's Island and games like that.
Yeah, but I think they did that well.
What else? Let's get to the Kongs scene next. First of all, when they arrive in the Jungle Kingdom, there's this blonde gorilla that greets them, and I didn't clock he was supposed to be a reference to Funky Kong, honestly, he just reminded me of Snowball the albino gorilla.
Oh, I can see that. But yeah, like, I did, like, at the time I looked at him, it took me a moment to realise he was Funky Kong. Or at least not, I don't think he was Funky Kong, I think he was more so a reference. Mm-hmm. But, like, I do like the actual, like, cutting through the Kong scene. I do like the whole Mario squaring up to Cranky Kong as their king, and then Cranky Kong being like, "You'll fight my son," and then Mario goes into the arena and out comes this absolute tank of Donkey Kong, and you just sort of see Mario's panic.
And also, the canon's not very consistent over if Donkey Kong, the current one, if rather Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong, or if... No, I'm trying to think. The Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong, it's inconsistent if he's Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong Jr.'s son, but this seems to go with the idea that he's Donkey Kong Jr.
I think it is following that, because if you remember, it showed Mario's grandfather, and he was using the Jumpman design.
I don't remember seeing that, but I think in, like, the climax when Mario's hiding in some building, there's an arcade machine that says Jumpman, I think, but it's partially obscured, so I'm not sure.
When he's hiding in Punch-Out Pizza...
Oh yeah, speaking of Nintendo Easter eggs, some others I noticed was the Duck Hunt duck sign, the car wash with balloon flight, and Mario's playing Kid Icarus, which honestly made me wonder if in this universe Kid Icarus is Nintendo's big franchise instead of Mario.
You could say it rose from a pit to great heights. You could say it was uprisen.
Wouldn't that be an alternate history? Yeah,
also, Spike's getting his name changed in Japan now.
Oh, why?
You know Spike from Wrecking Crew?
Oh yeah, Four-Man Spike.
Yeah, he is having his name changed to Spike in Japan now, because his name in Japan is Blackie.
Oh.
Which, understandable.
Yeah, also that's Umbreon's Japanese name, so make of that what you will.
Can't wait for Umbreon to get changed to, like, Darkion or something in the future.
Well, it's not called Dark in Japanese, so that
Well,
wouldn't
no, it'd be the
work.
evil type, wouldn't it? So it'd have to be, like, I don't know, like, Evil or something, but yeah. I do like the, like, you get, like, as I said, you get, like, scenes like Dry Bones is used perfectly. But then you get, like, I don't think they could have used Dry Bones any other way and had the same effect with it. Because its entire purpose is to scare Luigi off Bowser.
But then there's that joke later in the film where Bowser gets annoyed at a random Koopa and burns him and he turns into a Dry Bones.
Yeah,
So-
I did find that funny.
Is this the first proof that Dry Bones are undead and not just skeletons that happen to look like Koopa Troopers? Because you know what censorship is like how they try to retcon that the re-deads in Ocarina of Time aren't really zombies.
Well, they're not zombies, they've died twice, hence they're re-dead.
Yeah. No, but like I think in Super Smash Bros. Melee or something, they would try to like say that they were just clay figures that happen to look like zombies.
Oh, you're kidding.
Or something to that effect. I've not played Melee, I've just read about it on wikis a long time ago.
Classic Nintendo, we made something spooky, time to unspook it.
But at least we'll always have the Pokedex.
True. And I hope that never changes. I like my balloon that takes kids to the spirit world. But yeah, like, you get other things in the film, too, like the whole film seems to be almost like a soul-searching adventure for Mario. But then you get other scenes too. I like they let us see what's happening to Luigi at the time when the film is happening. I do think it was a little odd that Bowser decides to ritualistically sacrifice all of his prisoners for Peach.
I think it's just basically to show how much power he has and like, please do this or I'll kill them, but oh psych, I'm gonna kill them anyway, lol. Because that's exactly how he talks.
Well, to be fair, Jack Black did talk like that in a few scenes.
Oh, yeah.
You do get beautiful moments though, like, I very much liked the nihilistic Luma.
Oh yeah. What was that doing in a kids' movie? And also, it bothered me because the Luma looked like it could fit through the cage, the bars really easily, but it just didn't want to leave. I've stopped.
That's the thing. It saw no That's the thing. It was a nihilist. It believed that whatever choice it made no difference to the future.
Oh yeah, and there's that creepy scene at the end where the Luma talks directly to the audience.
Oh god, yeah, when it broke the fourth wall.
There's nothing to do but stare into the void, or whatever they sound like, I can't remember.
I do like how the penguin had like that whole like aggression arc towards it though.
Oh yeah.
Every time it said something, it'd get mad at it. We're depressed enough!
Oh yeah, and there was also that funny scene where the penguins were celebrating until they realised they were going to be dropped into lava. Honestly, that scene kind of reminded me of In Rise of the Guardians, which is one of my favourite movies, by the way, where...
That's the one with Jack Frost, right?
Yeah, where Pitch Black has all the mini-tooth fairies in cages in his base.
Yeah. I do like how in that scene, when you said about how the penguins are celebrating so they realise they're being dropped, and then the Luma rushes forwards and starts celebrating.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I do like also how they... I do think, honestly, for that scene, they couldn't have picked a better choice than Tanuki Mario. I just think it probably should have been Raccoon Mario instead.
Wait, which
given
scene
that
are
it
you
literally
talking about?
flies. The scene where they're dropping all the prisoners into lava.
Oh, wait, but I thought Tanuki Mario was like could also fly. I never really got why there's.
I don't know much about
power-ups, like...
Super Mario Bros. 3, but I know for a fact that in the more modern games, since 3D Land, the Tanuki is shown as being the one that glides, whereas the Raccoon's the one that can charge up and fly.
No, wait, I thought in 3D Land they merged it, so I don't really understand. Complicated. I'm not. It's been a long time since I played 3D Land. I didn't really like it as a kid, so I sold it and never looked back.
The Tanuki is often shown nowadays as being synonymous with the statue power. The difference being a scarf. Mm-hmm. You know, they gave us that Lucky Cat version of the cat power-up in 3D World. They can turn to the Japanese cat statue. Yeah. The difference on that one is also the colour, I believe. But I do think, honestly, the only way they could have done that just as well with a different power-up, of course it wouldn't make sense for getting onto Bowser's Castle, would have been Ice Mario skating on the lava like in Galaxy.
Okay, that would have been cool. I'm just reminded of the Ice Palace in A Link Between Worlds, where there's like, it's icy on the top, but then when you go further down, it's lava. I know this is only tangentially related, I just like A Link Between Worlds. We're talking about a lot of 3DS games right now.
Yeah. On the note of the film, I do believe that when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, the Sonic the Hedgehog film, we got a little novel with it. And I'd be intrigued to know if we get one with this film. The novel sort of like...
Films.
Yeah, but like it also came with a separate book that was like a sort of... Almost like a...
book?
No, it was more of a like... No, it was more of like a lore book. Like it gave us lore to the universe for it. Like it's where the Chaos Emeralds got their first mention. which is why people realised that the second film was going to feature them. It's why it explained why the Echidnas were after Sonic in that film. I'd be intrigued to see if we get one here, because it also told us that, by what we heard, the Sonic series was going to be a trilogy, which it is. We've got Sonic 3 on its way now. And I'd be intrigued to know, because we're definitely going to get a sequel based on the post-credits scene for this film.
Yeah.
I'd be intrigued to know if we're going to get a third one, because if we do, I genuinely feel like it's going to be Galaxy.
I kind of like how they didn't kill Bowser in this movie, because now they just have a perfectly good excuse to bring him back. Like, they just shrink him and put him in a jar. And it's established in this movie that if you get hit while using the mini mushroom, you don't die, you just go back to normal size.
Oh, I would like to point out, though, that putting him in the jar is a fate worse than death.
Oh, it's a reference to 3D World, where at the end, apparently, the fairies put him in a jar.
Yeah, but they don't shrink him down. On the note of that, though, I did find it funny that they've got him in like a little like cell where he's playing the piano, and it shows that even while under the effects of the mini mushroom, he's still powerful enough to throw the piano. And my thought at that point is, they're stupid for letting him have that. All he has to do is stub his toe on it.
Oh no. Oh, and also speaking of the mini mushroom, I think we should get onto the scene where Mario fights Donkey Kong, because honestly I think it was a nice touch that they emphasised that Mario needs power-ups but Donkey Kong doesn't. It reminds me of this old review of Donkey Kong Country by Really Freaking Clever before he started doing CinemaSins rip-offs, where he talks about how, like, Donkey Kong Country brings the platformer back to basics by not really having many power-ups.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, I do like how they brought the DK rap into that.
Oh yeah, they had it for a few seconds, like... Because I read in the news, I saw a headline saying that the Donkey Kong rap was in it, but I didn't know the context for that. Oh, and if anyone's wondering, my experience with Donkey Kong Country is that I played one level of Tropical Freeze and then sold it, and the end.
My experience with Donkey Kong Country is that I own Donkey Kong Jet Race on the Wii, I think it's called. And also, I used to have a stepbrother a while back, and he, don't worry guys, he's alive, just not a part of the family anymore. And,
okay, I had to emphasise, you had to specify that he's alive.
And he had, I think it was the one on the 3DS.
Oh yeah. Also, I think I played a bit of the first game on I Can't Believe It's Not Virtual Console, but I wasn't very good at it.
Is that about Switch Online?
Yeah, and I also watched reviews of the first three. And also, I like that Diddy and Dixie Kong have cameos. They're characters. And they're
I completely missed Dixie Kong, but I remember Diddy Kong, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, Dixie was right next to Diddy. I don't think she has any lines.
Oh, I didn't notice her.
What else? And then the Mario Kart bit comes in where they basically have to make custom karts like in games like in 7 onwards. And that's when Thunderstruck plays. Honestly, the whole concept of the protagonist's main goal being to go to a place and then get an army, but then they lose that army, kind of reminds me of the 2017 My Little Pony movie, but the only difference here is that they don't go on many detours in the middle, and the main characters aren't sidelined in favour of cramming in as many celebrity voice actors as possible, because the celebrity voice actors voice the main characters. I'm not saying that movie should have recasted the main 6, I'm saying that the main 6 should have been the focus of that movie. Anyway, rant over.
Another difference is that I didn't see a pony.
You're telling me that this wasn't a My Little Pony movie? Although now wondering...
But yeah,
sorry. Again, there's probably a pony somewhere in one of the many Mario media made over the years.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I gotta say, though, back to the Mario Kart scene, I very much liked how... I gotta admit, it's probably a contractual thing. I think at this point, if you reference Mario Kart in any Nintendo media, it's got to be the standard kart or standard bike. But I do like how, despite the fact Mario and Peach use standard kart, standard bike, Donkey Kong had his own custom design with cannons that fire banana peels. And on top of that, I think Toad had honestly the most fitting kart.
Oh, the really big one.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of which, I kind of like how Toad didn't have his annoying voice. I don't know who voices him, because I don't know actors.
It's a comedian, if I remember correctly.
Okay, but like, you know how in the games Toad has this really annoying shrill voice?
I think he sounded really good when he sang Let It Go.
Who sang Let It Go?
Oh my god, you haven't seen it. There was a huge thing a while back of people doing like Toad Sings parodies.
Oh, I've seen Toad Sings How Far I'll Go.
Yeah.
From Moana.
I almost certainly did not spend an hour and a half sat in a Discord call with someone once playing Pokemon while he put the music bot to play an hour and a half of those songs.
It also kind of reminds me, my dad hates Let It Go because he can't hear high-pitched notes very well, so he just thinks it sounds like cats screeching.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that, honestly. If you couldn't hear the high notes in that song, is there even a song to listen to? But yeah, sorry, back to the Mario movie. I think I really liked how they used it as a way to almost show off how powerful Bowser is.
Because the army
In
just
that one,
completely destroys the Rainbow Road.
yeah, and I do think, however, that although the film benefited from having Bowser show off how powerful he is by taking out the Kong army, that was supposed to be this victory condition for Peach and Mario, I do think there were probably better ways to have done that, in that they had this whole, like, almost a third of the film was spent getting this army to join their side, just to remove them immediately.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, they did get Donkey Kong to stay with them, so that's good. And they get Vord.
Oh yeah, and he ended up being vital. Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Well, specifically Moray, formerly known as Unagi, the eels from, like, Super Mario 64 that scared everyone.
Diadox.
But I remember them from the underwater level.
No, it's Jolly Roger Bugger, wasn't it?
Got Super Mario 64 DS a while ago, but I haven't finished it.
I've heard it's good. I haven't played the DS one. I need to do that. I know there's a whole like a whole bunch of modders who are campaigning to get like N64 modders to switch over to the DS version.
Oh, and also someone did a speedrun where he doesn't play as Mario.
That just sounds funny though.
Yeah. So
that's on the level of half an A press. But on the note of that, I do think that, again, the film did benefit from having Bowser show off his power in that way. But, like, also, I feel like... And yes, it was good to see Donkey Kong, and I really am glad they did that. But I feel like there was probably a better way of taking the Kong army out. Like, maybe while they were there, having Bowser attack Donkey Kong Country and being like, hey, Cranky being like, hey, I can't give my army anymore, but you can have my son. Or even give his son as a refugee.
Oh, so it's like, here, take my firstborn.
Get him out of here, please. In return, he will fight for you, you know.
I'm just picturing Cranky lifting up Donkey like in the Lion King, even though... even though he's...
It's a monkey!
It's the circle of life.
But, like, even then, like, we know, you know when the whole Rainbow Road thing happens, how, spoiler alert, Bowser captures Cranky Kong and puts him in the cell, and then Donkey Kong at the end is shown being really happy to see his father. I feel like that would have had a lot more of an emotional moment if Donkey Kong didn't know that his father was alive.
Oh.
If, like, as I said, if he had been, like, given up and then rushed back to the Mushroom Kingdom on Rainbow Road, to then have, you know, Bowser and arrives to attack the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario and Donkey Kong end up late due to having fallen in the ocean, end up saving everybody, and that's when Donkey Kong finds out his father's still alive.
Oh, so you're thinking that Mario and Donkey Kong should have been separated from the rest of the group instead of the Kongs all dying, basically?
Well, you know how Mario and Donkey Kong were separated from the group and Rainbow Road got destroyed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like if they'd done that...
The other Kongs should have gotten to Mushroom Kingdom but be losing.
No, what I mean is, you know when, as I said, like, the way I see it is, if... To show off his power in a more interesting way, because otherwise, what we saw on Rainbow Road is more so just Bowser showing off his technological ability with the carts and everything, being more powerful than the Kong's carts. If instead we'd had, when they're in the Kong territory, they were discussing taking the army over after Mario beating Donkey Kong, only for Bowser to attack the country.
Oh.
Yeah, and then have Cranky Kong say, I can't give you my army, but please take care of my son for me.
Okay.
And then they wouldn't know what happened to the Kongs.
Oh, so the Kongs would still be fighting there.
Yeah, so then when Donkey Kong found his father captured on Bowser's castle, there could have been a moment of, oh my god, our country's fallen.
Oh no.
Which would have given Donkey Kong more reason in the final fight.
Oh, also that kind of makes me realise, like, you say, it's the Jungle Kingdom is literally Donkey Kong's country.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, and what really made me laugh is, the scene where the Funky Kong placement was trying to take them to Cranky Kong really made me feel like DK Fools from the 3DS Mario Kart.
Honestly, it kind of reminded me of that temple stage from Mario Kart 8 that I can't remember the name of, mainly because of the colours and
the one with, is it Swamp Falls, Swamp Ruins?
It's been a long time since I played any Mario Kart game.
The one that was in the base game.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I know what you're on about, yeah. So, anything else about the film you'd like to talk about?
Let's talk a bit more about Mario and Donkey Kong getting Vord, because it reminded me of that scene in Finding Nemo where Marlin and Dory get eaten by the whale and have a heart-to-heart, and then they get spat out again. Spat back out.
No, I think it was an interesting scene. We got to see Mario and Donkey Kong have a little bit of, I want to say, a lover's tiff, but without the whole lovers aspect.
I really like a conversation where they talk about their feelings.
And then Donkey Kong gets angry with him, and then that's how they discover, oh wait, we can use my cannon to get out of here.
Actually, it also kind of reminds me of the Lego movie where they all get stranded at sea, but they manage to survive by hiding in the double-decker couch.
Oh god, yeah. God, it's been a while since I've talked about that film.
Because I think that scene comes after they escape the villain. I think it's after Cloud Cuckoo Land gets destroyed and they escape the villains. Spoilers for
Yeah, because they escaped by
8
hiding
years ago.
in the couch, didn't they? Because the couch was, I think the couch was Emmett's thing that he built to show off why he should be a master builder, wasn't it?
And everyone thought it was stupid.
Yeah. God, that's a film I haven't talked about in a while.
And speaking of which, when I was watching a Mario movie, I was thinking about, really the only reason why the Lego movie blew me away was because of that plot twist. No, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, I'm just saying it has one moment that makes it a really good movie.
Yeah. I think that cat was brilliant.
What cat?
In the Lego movie, the cat poster.
Oh, yeah, about keep holding on or whatever it said.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the Mario movie then. And there's, as I mentioned earlier, there was a scene where Peach gets to be a badass because Toad, basically, she has an escape plan with Toad. He gives her, a bouquet of piranha plants like in Super Mario Odyssey, but it has an ice flower hidden in it.
Oh my god, yeah, that was a reference to Odyssey!
Yeah, although, speaking of which, the ice flowers weren't established earlier either, so that's another thing that would seem like a Deus Ex Machina if you weren't well versed in the deep and intricate lore of Mario.
True, though I guess the fire flower kind of set up for that.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole duality of fire and ice, isn't there? So I assume people could have, suspended disbelief there.
And she, manages to freeze the chains that whole thing was just a cool scene. And as I said earlier, her dress reminds me of Elsa from Frozen. Also, speaking of which, has Ice Peach ever appeared in a game? Because what was the last game I think the only main platformers where she's been playable are 2 and 3D World, and I don't think either of them have the ice flower, and 2 definitely didn't, but not sure about 3D World.
3D World has a very specific set of power-ups. It's the cat, the Tanuki, Fire Star, and I think Boomerang. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was Boomerang or another one. But I don't remember there being the ice flower in it. I would love to see, Peach get more representation in the games. That seems to be the way they're going. I'd love to see, Peach get use all sorts of power-ups. I'd love to see, we've got Mario Maker 2 that's really not supported anymore.
Oh, I haven't played it.
I'd love to see a 3D Mario Maker.
I think that'd be a bit more complicated, though.
Oh, not necessarily. Procedural meshes exist. You just draw a box, it would place terrain there.
Oh, fair enough.
Do it in the style of 3D World, where it's you've got
Mario design conventions in 3D.
Yeah.
So it's
and then they could even include
not...
galaxy palettes, where it's spheres and such, but
some people call it 2.5D, but it's not really that. It's more like a fully 3D game that's like traditionally 2D games, kind of like Crash Bandicoot, but Crash Bandicoot has side-scrolling sections, so that's not really a good analogy. And
I guess on rails is the description?
No, I wouldn't say it's on rails. I mean, what would an on-rails platform even look like?
Sonic Generations.
Oh, it's like the Sonic Boost formula, where lots of it is just grinding on, basically moving forwards automatically, I think.
Yeah, basically.
I haven't played Sonic Frontiers, but I've heard it's good. I'm not that into Sonic.
Oh, it is brilliant. Even if you're not into Sonic, I'd recommend it.
And I also kind of know what one of the plot twists at the end is, so...
Yeah, but if you're on about what I think you're on about, the end...
The robot girl.
It's... Oh, no, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be that you're on about. But on the note of that, it is Sega. People were expecting that. But yeah, sorry, we should probably get back to the movie, shouldn't we? We were talking about the Rainbow Road scene.
Yeah.
And then the Vor scene, so yeah.
Peach versus Bowser.
I do like how she swings the axe and he just bats it aside.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I also like how there was a gag where King Bob-Omb tries to sit down on the bench with 2 Koopa Troopers, and then he just bumps into one and it turns into a shell and starts bouncing between them.
I do like they also punched the shell to stop it.
Oh yeah, and also King Boo was there. And speaking of cameos, apparently there's a toad called a random purple toad in Toad Town, Chantrell, which is apparently a character from the original Paper Mario, but I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that either. But yeah, speaking of the toads, I can't believe it took me the whole hour-and-a-half film to realise that the toad that we follow is Captain Toad.
Yeah, I didn't actually... I think I might have seen people say that, but I don't think they referred to that particular toad by any name, not even just Toad.
No, but when they showed the... No, Peach referred to him as her toad.
Oh.
But when they reach the credits, they show off the toads and it plays a little bit of, I think, the 3D World jingle. Then they show that toad with his cooking pot in the credits, and it plays the Captain Toad jingle.
Oh yeah, I kind of liked how in the first part of the credits they listed all the main characters' actors, but didn't put their names. They just put objects associated with the characters. That was a cool way of doing it.
And they tweaked the music too.
Films nowadays have to list all the main actors twice in the credits, first in a shorter in the in the scrolling bit and in the primary bit.
I'd say the reason for that probably is because a lot of people will see an actor. And then they'll genuinely just spend hours trying to figure out who that character is played by. Of course, they don't need to play it twice, but I think having the short one with like the sort of like I guess the greatest stars on it.
So that people don't leave the cinema before it's over, I guess.
Yeah, so like someone who sat there thinking, I know that voice, can look at it and go, oh, Bowser was Jack Black, you know. I know that voice. Oh my god, Star-Lord was Mario, you know.
Speaking of
But
which,
then showing them again in the next one.
I thought the voice acting was alright. I got used to Chris Pratt as Mario over time. Also,
I think he pulls a convincing Brooklyn Mario.
Did Chris Pratt play Emmett in the Lego Movie, or have I just made that up? I
Let me
swear,
Google that and find out for you.
comparing him to Star-Lord.
Okay, I have not seen the Lego Movie 2. What the hell happened that Mr. Emmett Brokowski takes an alter ego Radical Emmett... So takes the alter ego Radical Emmett Extreme Rex Dangerfest.
Oh, I've heard of that, but I don't remember the context and I haven't seen it either.
And yes, he is Chris Pratt, oh my god.
For some reason I get Chris Pratt and Brad Pitt mixed up in my head, and I think it's just because their surnames end with the same 2 letters.
To be fair, same number of syllables in the first name,
Yeah,
pretty
that
much
too.
very similar surname. I can't blame you on that.
In general, I'm absolutely hopeless with actors. I could identify stock Canadian voice actors because I've watched My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic and Dinosaur Train, and once you've watched one Canadian cartoon, you've pretty much heard all the Canadian voice actors.
Hey, My Little Pony is Canadian.
Well, the rights holders are American, but most of the voice actors are Canadian. The main exception being Tara Strong, who's American. And that's why she records her lines separately from everyone else, because she's like halfway across the world.
She wants to be special.
Yeah, Tara Strong. Tara Strong also does like Ben 10 and Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents, I think.
She plays Timmy Turner.
Yeah, she's in a lot of things. She's in like every
The guy who
television-
canonically wished that no one would age, and it has been about 50 years.
It's been a long time since I've watched a Fairly Odd Parents as well.
He canonically wished that no one would age because he didn't want to lose his fairies by growing up. When asked how long it was, he says, I don't know, 50 years?
I haven't seen that episode.
He gets legitimately held in fairy court for it.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Voice actors.
Sorry, yeah, we got to the voice actors, yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know. Like, I've seen people make the argument that a lot of films have celebrity voice actors just to have something for the parents who get forced to watch them. But like I specifically remember once I was on YouTube, looking on YouTube movies and shows because I was bored once, and I saw the description for The Land Before Time 13, which was like the most cliche thing ever, and like I posted it in my Discord server, and someone just joked that the kids would love the celebrity voice actors du jour, and then they said that they were probably in there for the parents, but that was a direct-to-DVD movie, meaning the parents wouldn't have to drag their kids to the cinemas. So
true.
No, who knows? Because I don't really know if much draw celebrity voice actors actually have. Like, do people really think that this Mario movie couldn't sell without Chris Pratt in it? Because the only movie I ever watched to see a specific actor in it was Kieran versus the Swords of Justice, of all things, because I was 12 years old, obsessed with Full Metal Alchemist, and Keldeo in that movie is voiced by the same person who voices the main character of Full Metal Alchemist, who is now a bit of a controversial person, and I won't go into any more detail because it's not really pleasant.
You know, I have the DVD for the Deoxys movie, and I've never actually watched that.
And I have the DVD for the Zoroark movie, and I've never watched it either.
But yeah, sorry, we're on,
King of which apparently this is the first theatrical movie based on a Nintendo property that isn't Pokemon in years.
Oh my god, it is!
And also, have you seen that Zelda movie pitch from years ago? I just remembered it exists.
No, I haven't.
It was like a pitch trailer with CGI. I don't really remember what happens in it, but it existed.
Spoiler alert, Link saves the princess.
Oh no. Also, that kind of reminds me, I saw someone point out once that in basically every Zelda game she appears in, Zelda is the MVP, the most valuable player, or princess, I guess. Like, she helps Link defeat the bad guys over the final boss, either directly or indirectly by just giving him a MacGuffin.
Casual cough cough Breath of the Wild light arrows.
So I guess...
to be honest, I think she's done well for a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
If they're doing the damsel in distress,
Zelda.
She should have a reason to help. Yeah, sorry, Zelda, yeah.
Yeah, but also Peach, I guess, is kind of a bit Zelda-like in this movie as well, because she's like... Although, I'm pretty sure there's only... I mean, obviously there aren't many Zelda games where Zelda joins Link. Actually, it's kind of like, now that I think about it, it's more so like really the old American tie-ins that made Zelda more of a badass, like the cartoon and the CDI games.
Oh boy, smooching time!
But now we have canon stuff with cool Zeldas, like the Wind Waker, Train Zelda, and Breath of the Wild.
Twilight Princess.
Oh yeah, she just joins the final battle at the end, and I still don't really understand what that thing she did when she dissolved into Midna and that cured her allergy to the sun or something.
Either way, she's arguably the most powerful Zelda, and I find that funny.
I mean, although, I guess to get this back on topic, do you think they'll eventually make movies of other Nintendo properties as well? Like
I
first-party
think
ones?
because this film has done well, if the second one does well as well, I think there's leeway for it.
And then they could have a Nintendo cinematic universe.
That's the thing. Because Paramount, in the lore book, if I remember correctly, for Sonic 1, wrote about how if Sonic 1 did well and Sonic 2 did well, there was potential to put feelers out there for a Sega extended universe.
Oh yeah, for some reason the words Knights movie popped into my head, and I'm not sure if that's a thing that was actually considered at some point, or...
I don't know about a Knights movie, but I know that we have started getting a Sonic 2 sort of like epilogue TV show featuring Sonic, Tails and Knuckles, which seems to be the step towards expanding. I remember reading a pitch, I don't remember where I found it or anything, about it being like a Samba de Amigo movie.
Oh.
Which, honestly, it's a weird pull, but it sounds hilarious.
How would you even make a movie about that? I suppose the same... Does Samba de Amigo games have lore? I don't know, I haven't played them.
I haven't played them either, but it was a funny little pitch.
It would probably be a musical, if it's real.
Oh, absolutely.
What other Sega franchises get games on a regular basis? Don't they do, like, sports games or something? I'm not sure.
Oh boy, NFL movie.
Oh no. Wouldn't that just be the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, good point. Sorry, yeah, back to the Mario movie before we get distracted for, like, the upteam's time by me, and I'm sorry about that. Right, we talked about the final fight scene, weren't we, with King Bob-omb and King Boo.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the movie was the first time I've ever actually realised, oh my god, they're puppet kings.
Oh, in what way? Oh, is it because they're deferential to Bowser?
That's what I mean, yeah, they're kings of their race, but they serve under King Koopa.
We've already talked about this, twice already.
I mean the final fight scene.
Oh, and then Mario's running through the Mushroom Kingdom, gets the Tanuki /raccoon dog.
And then flies the Bonsai Bill into the pipe and then gets the big suck to end up back at home.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I thought it was very surprising that they showed Mario's parents, considering, I'm just reminded of this Thomas Game Docs video where he goes all about what Mario's parents look like in the expanded universe media.
Is that the one where he did like a whole investigative video about it?
Oh, yeah, and he goes into some old comics.
Yeah. God, I think I watched that.
Oh, and they also explained why Peach is a human but rules over a kingdom of mushrooms. Because she was adopted.
Yeah, the film did explain that, didn't it?
Yeah.
She just ended up walking through a portal and put a pacifier as a baby in one of the Toad's mouth, and they were like, yeah, we like this one.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very hygienic.
To be fair, they're already mushrooms.
PSA, don't suck used dummies. You will get sepsis.
True, actually, I never thought of that. That poor Toad.
Moment of silence.
But, moment of silence for our fallen warrior. He was a fun guy. Yeah, onto the final scene. I find it funny that, you get all these, this giant, landmass just crashes in the middle of Brooklyn. Luigi got his redemption, against Spike by saving Spike in that moment.
Oh yeah, I forgot Spike returned, because, people made a big deal out of him being in it, because, he's a very obscure character, but he has, one line at the beginning, he breaks Luigi's phone, and then the end. And
then Luigi breaks his dignity at the end. But, I do find it funny that this huge landmass crashes in the middle of, Brooklyn, no one bats an eyelid.
This is the normal day in New York.
Back onto the final fight scene. So yeah, good on New York. And, Mario and Luigi just brought this, 8-foot turtle in, and his giant floating lava castle. And somehow the population aren't being terrorized by this.
Oh no.
Car insurance must have been hell that day, though, given all the cars that Bowser destroyed.
Home insurance and life insurance, probably.
Oh yeah, property insurance too. I would like to think that Nintendo never let anyone die.
Oh yeah, as I said earlier, they didn't show any of the penguins dying, but when I brought this up on my Discord server, someone joked that they absolutely would have.
No, they absolutely would have. Global warming would have killed them. Back on the note of no one dying in the Brooklyn thing, I would like to think, because obviously they have that area cordoned off, if you remember, because of the flood. So the only people that would have been there were workers. But we saw in that scene that Luigi and Mario were going around getting the workers out there. So I genuinely think... I mean, come on, this is Mario. The poor Koopas, if they die, they just get trapped in bone purgatory.
Oh no. So now in the sewers of Brooklyn, there's just an army of dry boneses.
Oh my god, I never thought of that. Bowser just dropped into the city with his giant, mega fortress full of lava. that's going to wreak havoc on the sewage system for a while.
And probably cause a shockwave.
Absolutely, there's likely to be a very big crater there. Somehow it didn't destroy any houses, which, given the size of that castle...
Also, honestly, the whole climax taking place in ruins of the city kind of gives me deja vu, but I'm not really sure what it reminds me of. Maybe in Big Hero 6 where everything's being sucked into the portal.
Have you ever watched Avengers?
I haven't. Maybe it's just a very common thing.
To be fair, it's very common. Poor people in New York just can't cop a rest. Mm-hmm. But then you get the beautiful scene where, Peach somehow touches the superstar without powering up.
Maybe it's like an intent thing, in order to use the superstar, you actually have to want to use it.
I like to think it's more of a genetic lock thing, like a sword in the stone kind of thing.
Only the chosen may use it.
And that Mario is the chosen one, and Luigi's just close enough. The star just says, "Screw it, why not?"
I was just trying to trying to compare it to that episode of Pokemon where Pikachu slaps away a Thunderstone.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that.
The Electric Shock Showdown.
Yeah, Pikachu didn't evolve through raw willpower. But yeah, the whole fight scene was cool with Mario trips and then Luigi jumps in and saves him, and then you get the cool Mario reaches out to his brother, sentimental brotherly bond moment. And then his dad finally acknowledges him, because this whole film was a whole, thing about parental, bonding and disappointing your parents.
And stuff like that. I'm trying to think if there are any other movies I've seen where the main character has a disappointing dad. The closest I can think is, Up, but Russell's dad never appears, and honestly, it wasn't on my mind when I saw it, so...
I mean, Sonic 1's thing was, Sonic was looking for a family, and had a huge stalker moment where he admits he watches the... And then he admits in the massive stalker moment that he spends hours of the day staring through this family's window and watching their TV.
You know, for kids!
Yeah. And then he finally gets his... in the second film, it's a spoiler alert to anyone, he's oh man, I really hope Sonic can get some, crew of his own. And then, lo and behold, unbeknownst to them while they're on holiday, this yellow fox guy showed up.
Oh, yeah. And don't people like to joke that Sonic's surname is whatever the human family's surname because he gets adopted by them? I want to say it's Wazowski, but that's Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc., so no. It's something beginning with W.
I think it is just Wizowski, or Wiznowski, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Winowski?
I still need to get around to watching a Sonic movie. Is it on Netflix?
It's on Paramount.
I don't have that.
You can find ways to watch it online.
Is it on DVD?
Yeah, it's also on Google Play. I don't know about the second one, though. And, yeah, back to the whole fight scene. I very much everyone panics, and then, the fire just is shown engulfing where Mario and Luigi were. And obviously, sitting there watching it, you know full well they're not going to have died at the end of the film.
Because kids.
But then, and plus they're the main characters, Yeah. A true hero never dies, and we need money for the second film, so But then the fire clears. It just reveals this glowing Mario and Luigi, and it's I'm glad they used the
superstar.
I'm glad they used. Yeah, but I'm glad they used the design for it as well from the original design concept of Mario Galaxy, instead of the one that they use where, they tend to turn their entire skin rainbow-coloured.
Oh, instead it's just a sort of aura.
Yeah. The concept for it in some of the Mario Galaxy artwork was sort of almost like they pulsed in that colour instead. Mm-hmm. Which is why it has after images and where the after images came from. Mm-hmm. Which I think looks so much better. Because the thing is, when you get the star in Mario, it doesn't replace your current power.
Oh, yeah. It just sort of sticks onto it.
Yeah, which with so many of them looking so similar. Ice Mario and Fire Mario looking very similar, being just colour palette swaps of Mario. But Super Mario. But then, things a lot of the power-ups share the same shape, which just makes it not very interesting when you get the star. If they did something like they do with Mega Man 11, where they took it and gave, Fire Mario an actual, fire cap.
Or Kirby. Kirby wears different hats.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing, but of course that doesn't really fit into the movie. I hope for their on the note of that final scene though, I think it was very cool how they showed off that the superstar makes them able to run faster and jump higher as well.
Honestly, kind of reminds me of how in New Super Mario Bros. Mario front flips whenever he jumps with the superstar, and it honestly reminds me of this one time I was playing it. I got a superstar and then it almost immediately jumped into a bottomless pit by accident.
It happens. I do like how they actually also changed the run animation for them when they picked up the star in the film.
Ah. I didn't cross
They went from their jogging animation they used all around to the whole arms out behind them, sort of just running
T-posing.
Full speed.
Or Naruto running.
Yeah. But you know how in the games it happens, so when you pick up the star, they switch from their normal running animation with arms out to the side, behind them, sort of leaning forwards. It's quite a nice touch that they put that in there. I also like how they won the battle in a very, I think the battle, I can't remember which one it was, but I think there's an attack, if I recall correctly, in Mario and Luigi, that is pretty much what they did to Bowser in the end of the film, where they do all like the jumping on him and all the acrobatics and whatnot.
Oh, the bros attacks.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at using them. I've never beat a Mario and Luigi game, but I know about them.
I beat Bowser's Inside Story back on the DS. Mario and Luigi Vorbros.
Oh no. Also, I never liked how for the last 2 Paper Mario games they just stuck bros on the end of the European title, even though it didn't really make sense.
True. I mean, there was that one where it, like, brought in Paper Mario, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, Paper Jam.
I haven't played that one. Was it good?
Alpha Dream went bankrupt. And
Did they?
Intelligent Systems went creatively bankrupt. Yeah, Alpha Dream went bankrupt.
Yikes.
In like 2019 or so, because Bowser's Inside Story 3D tanked on 3DS tanked horribly.
Sorry, Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser's Minions.
No, it's Bowser Jr.'s Journey.
I thought it was about Bowser's Minions.
No, Bowser's Minions was the Superstar Saga remake.
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, I just got actually. Wow, okay.
And they skipped Partners in Time because reasons.
To be fair, who wants more babies?
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I like that we got like a longer scene of Bowser singing Peaches. There's just something funny about Bowser on the piano with Jack Black's singing voice.
Oh yeah, and I kind of like how it like pulls out to reveal that he's still tiny and like. I guess the whole idea is that the reason why his voice sounds normal while he's singing is because that's what he sounds like in his imagination, or what he wants to sound like.
Oh no, it's because the camera's zoomed in on him, isn't it?
Oh, and also we haven't mentioned Kamek yet, but honestly he just kind of reminded me of Drew's grandfather from Despicable Me. I don't know if it's just because it's an Illumination movie or maybe it's the way he sounds.
To be fair, it probably was a bit of both. Like, I do like how they had the Luigi mustache scene.
Where?
Bowser's trying to get information out of him when he first gets there, remember? So Kamek lifts him up and brings him over to him and he pulls the mustache.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do think that in a sequel, I'd be intrigued to see in a sequel how they go about having Bowser escape.
His minions commit a heist in the castle, and also they're the Koopalings, I guess, because the Koopalings are in everything.
Oh god, yeah, they could bring the Koopalings in. We haven't seen Bowser Jr. either.
And or Bowser Jr., and then they could have a joke about who's his real son, or / offspring. Or maybe they could bring Bowser's brother into this, the clone version of Bowser from Lost Levels, which is blue, and he's also been called another Bowser, but in one material they call him Bowser's brother. Personally, I like to call him Blueser.
You know how they could do a heist? You know how Mario Bros. Characters canonically struggle to tell the difference between people with parrot? Naturally, parrot people would look vastly different to how they look without parrots, yeah?
Like, I don't know.
No, but like, what I mean is, like, so you know how Mario can take on many forms? Cat Mario, Tanuki Mario, yeah? And how in some of the games you see characters won't recognise them. I think it's in one of the Galaxy games. There's a question about, is it Galaxy? I can't remember which game it was. It might have been one of the story-driven ones. There was a game I remember at one point, a Toad going something along the lines of, "Who's this raccoon?" Which makes me wonder if, now obviously they probably won't do this, but it'd be funny if they did.
Oh, no.
Bowsette. That could be a Bowser plan. Hell, it could be how he escapes. Because remember, they made reference to Peach's crown being immovable.
Oh, when?
Bowser, when he was singing Peaches, before he sang Peaches, he was talking to Kamek about how Peaches, something Peach's immovable crown, or the removable tiara.
Oh, so you're saying that Peach's tiara is like a power-up?
Well, think about it though, because when it shows her balcony, when she's showing Mario around to show him off the little obstacle course, we see that the posts on the side are decorated like the Super Crown mushroom.
Oh, so you mean the one from Mario Kart, which lets you spam boosts? Oh, the one that lets Toadette turn into Peach. I didn't notice that.
Peachette. But the Peachette thing is a power-up anyway, so that wouldn't work. I would love to see a reference to Bowser in some form, like, even if it's just Bowser pondering what would happen if he ate one of them. Like, even if, like, in films they like to show off, like, sometimes you got, like, a backboard in, like, the back of the room, or the villain's giving their plans to their crew, and it's, like, and you can see, like, in the back corner, like, one of their scrapped plans.
Can't say I've seen any movies that do that, but go on.
Like, it'd just be an interesting concept to see Bowser, like, talking to his minions about, like, oh, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna use a Mega Mushroom, we're gonna annihilate the Mushroom Kingdom. And then, like, one of their minions going, what's this one about the crown?
And then Bowser's like, and tries to change the subject. So that's all we have to say. Until next time, stay interesting.
Goodbye.